Hey, God bless you all. Hope you're doing well. I um I labeled this video "Trump crashes the stock market" because I believe one of the next stops on this train wreck is that due to the election being contested, the market, which is currently at all-time highs with the declaration of Biden's victory, will come crashing down. Now, of course, as you know, as I've been saying, the Trump will be the one blamed for every bad thing that happens, and all those who supported him, including the deceived Christians um, and the right wing, will be blamed for all the fallout. So one of those major fallouts will be the collapse of the market, which is planned anyway. But in order for persecution to take place, they need to pin it um, on those who backed Trump, which is the deceived Christians. So anyway, it's a long, slow train wreck, and I know many of us are calling to people to get off the train while we see it, uh, running toward its impending demise. Um, but most won't heed that call. Um, what you are watching, though, is it's called a PSYOP, a psychological operation. I was in the military for a few years, and I was in the military with some guys who worked in um, psychological operations. And one of their primary jobs in that department was to spread propaganda. So the U.S. military would go into a country and possibly look to overthrow a leader or collapse a government or something. And one of the first steps in that process was to spread propaganda um, to cause division in that country. What they would use is something called the halo effect. In psychology, the halo effect is basically people's tendency to view someone as all the way good or all the way bad. Generally, it's difficult for people to see someone as partially good with some bad or partially bad with some good. They tend to believe that a person is all the way one way or all the way the other. It's called the halo effect. So what the psyops people used to do is they used to play on that psychological tendency, and they would spread propaganda among both sides, uh, pitting them against each other and painting their leaders to be all the way bad. It it causes a problem for people to not believe that either side actually exists. What that does is it causes something called cognitive dissonance, and your mind will typically do everything it can to rid itself of cognitive dissonance. That's when your beliefs don't match your behavior. So if you're forced into a system in which you have to pick sides, in which your behavior has to align with one of two sides, it becomes nearly impossible for your beliefs not to follow that behavior. Your mind will do everything it can to put your beliefs in line with the behavior. So in psychological operations, they use these two primary factors in order to control people. The third thing they do is something most people would know as brainwashing. This was really popularized by Edgar Schein. He kind of uncovered the techniques that the communist countries used to use in order to push their agenda and to brainwash the public. It's basically a 3-step process. So the first step is to decrease learning anxiety. You decrease learning anxiety by making it easy to follow the new rule, whatever that might be. The next thing you need to do is move the anchors of judgment. So you need to put out a stream of propaganda in order to redefine morality, redefine right and wrong according to the agenda that you want to push. So, an example would be wearing a mask is right and not wearing a mask is immoral because it puts other people at risk, right? So you redefine morality according to your agenda and move the anchors of people's judgment. You decrease learning anxiety by making it easy to follow the new way of thinking. And then you have to increase survival anxiety, which is making it difficult not to follow the new agenda and even putting people's survival at risk if they don't. So, for instance, you can't go buy groceries unless you put on a mask, right? That's a way of increasing survival anxiety. So you do these 3 steps and you're very consistent about it and consistent about your messaging. You unload the propaganda to pit people against each other using the halo effect and people's desire to be free from cognitive dissonance. And you can, in fact, control a nation. You can move it any direction you like. And these are the techniques that they used to use in psychological operations, the people I used to know that were involved in that. So you can see it playing out right in front of you. You can see the exact techniques that our military has been using against other countries for decades, now being used against the American public. And what they want for you is they want you to choose a side. They want you to divide against your brother. They want this nation divided against each other. They want civil war because that is the way to collapse a nation. As Jesus said, kingdom divided against itself cannot stand. They know that to be true. And so division is the easiest way to collapse. And so all that you're seeing are techniques that we've been using for years. They're just being used against you now. So as we continue to watch this long, slow train wreck, I would encourage you to get your eyes off of the world, to make sure your eyes are fastened on Jesus. He is your only hope, and you can escape the cognitive dissonance by putting your eyes on him and aligning your behavior with your thoughts of him. You can escape the propaganda and the halo effect and all of these things being used against you by walking in the Spirit and being free in the Spirit. No one can lock up your spirit. You're free to enjoy this time with Christ. You're free to enjoy this time with your Father. And as the world is suffering and plunging into chaos and destruction, you can enjoy the peace of Christ flowing through you, and it can surpass all of understanding. And people will look at you and they'll wonder why you have such peace when the world is in such turmoil, and you can share with them that it's the love of God. So anyway, I think that's all I really had on my mind to kind of share with you today. I look forward to seeing you all soon. Be encouraged because it won't be long before we fly. So if I don't see you here, I'll see you in the air. God bless.